Thank you for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my goals for 2026, but also talking about how I go about setting my goals and sticking to them. So if you're anything like me, chances are you've already thought about your goals for next year long before today. And I actually start planning as early as November. So it's my birthday on the 2nd of November. And after that, I really like to start thinking about the year ahead. Now, chances are, even if you don't start planning that early, you've already got a couple of ideas in your mind of things that you would like to do next year. That might be a dream holiday, or it might be something huge like a career change. I also like to think about other areas of my life and make sure that I cover everything so I know exactly what I want to do in the coming year. And to help me do that, I use a list of categories, and I've got those written down here. So I'll just read those out to you and then I'll go into them in a little bit more detail. So I've got here activities and experiences, ambitions, appearance, books, diet, days out, fitness, garden, health, hobbies and interests, home, nights out, travel and work. Now, you may also have a list of categories, or you might like to invent your own list of categories. You don't have to include everything that I've included here, but do try to look into all areas of your life, and that will really help you to plan and to think about things that you might want to do that otherwise you might not have thought about at this time of year. So all of these are obviously self-explanatory, but I'm just going to go through and give you a brief description for each of them, and in each category tell you what my goals are for next year. So the first one then, activities and experiences. Now this might be something that you've always wanted to try. And as an example, this year, one of my goals was to try pottery, something I've always wanted to have a go at, and I've never done it before. And we actually went along and did that at Honeybourne Potteries in the Cotswolds for my birthday in November. And I absolutely loved it. And that's definitely something we would like to do again. So it's anything like that that you've always wanted to have a go at. One thing that's been on my list for quite a while, and that I am going to put into my list for the coming year, is having a go at indoor skydiving. And I know they've got a place that does it in Milton Keynes, so that's where we would head. And there are different sort of levels that you can enjoy, and one of the levels you actually get a little video of your flight, I suppose it's called. But I always think that looks like a lot of fun, and there's no way I would ever jump out of a plane, so that would be my closest to skydiving that I would get. So that's something I'd like to have a go at. So next on the list, ambitions. So this is the big thing. Now, one of mine is to actually publish a book, and I'm working on that at the moment. So in the year that's just gone, my plan was to write 12 chapters, and I'm very pleased to say that I've done that. So over the coming year, it will be to write the next 12 chapters, and I intend the book to be around 25 chapters, so I should be able to finish writing it next year. But I'm not actually going to put to complete the book, because I know then that there will be a lot of editing to do. There may be some rewrites and changes that I need to make, and then I would need to find an agent before I then sent that off to a publisher. So if one of your goals is to write a book, it is a very long process. So it always makes sense to actually break that process down. So rather than saying I'm going to write a book next year that you probably won't achieve in that time unless you're working on it sort of full time, then it's best to always break it down. And I'll talk more about breaking goals down in a moment. So the next thing on there is appearance. And in this category, I put everything about yourself. So it can be skincare, hair care, nail care. You might want to change your clothing style. You might want to get a new hairstyle maybe. You know, it can be anything like that. One of my things is that I would like to dress a little bit more intentionally for my work. So most of you that are here will know that I'm a miniaturist. So I work in a craft room, so I use lots of paint and glue and things like that. So I don't want to be wearing my best clothes for that. But at the moment, any clothes that I no longer wear as part of my sort of casual day wear are then downgraded to my work wear. But I want to be a little bit more intentional than that and dress a little bit more smartly for my job, as I am on camera a lot of the time. So that's just one example.
So another goal I'm going to be adding into this category is to improve the condition of my hair. Now, I'll go into why my hair is in such bad condition in another video, but I'm actually going to be following along with the Abby Young hair care method. And Abby Young has a channel here on YouTube. She's got beautiful hair. She knows so much about hair. I think she's a trained trichologist, and lots of people have had really good results by following along with this method. And again, this is something that I'll track here on my YouTube channel. Now, I've actually already made a start, and I purchased a bottle of K18, which Abby really recommends, and already I can see a slight difference in the texture of my hair.
The next thing I've got on the list is books, and that really is just a reading list. So I'm a chain reader. I've always got a book on the go. At the moment, I'm reading Bob Mortimer's Satsuma Complex, which I'm absolutely loving. It's so funny. But I like to make a list of books that I would like to read in the coming year, and I try to read probably one book every 6 weeks. And again, if you have a reading list, the number of books you put on it will obviously depend how much time you actually have to sit and read. The next thing is diet, and for me that means what I eat rather than weight loss. So when I plan to eat healthy, it's really just to become healthy, help me through this sort of perimenopausal journey that I'm on at the moment, and part of that will be trying to get more protein into my diet. But I also want to try to include more fruit and veg, and I think since, again, my birthday at the beginning of November, I haven't been eating as healthily as I should, or exercising as I should. So that's certainly something I will be addressing starting in the new year. The next thing is days out. So again, that's just places that you've always wanted to go. And one of mine is the Bodleian Library in Oxford. There's a couple of museums in Oxford as well that I would like to go to, so they are on my list. And I do actually have a separate notebook here where I've got a list of all of the places that I would like to go and other things as well that I would like to do. All of my experiences are in here and other activities that I would like to try. So I have that written in a separate book. So when I think about days out for next year, I'd like to try to plan 12 days out. So that would be one day a month. And when it comes to that day, I will go through my book, obviously before the actual day, and plan where I would like to go. Finances, I won't share my finance goals here, but that might be something like maybe you've got several different pensions that you might like to put all into the one pot. So you might like to plan to have a look into that to see if that would benefit you. Could be that you've got several small loans that it might benefit you if you put them all into one pot. It might just be something that you want to save for. You may say that you just want to save a little bit more throughout the year. And there are lots of really good ways of doing that as well. If you have a look, even here on YouTube, at financial goals, there are these little things you can do, and I actually did this one last year, where you start off in week 1 saving £1, week 2 you save £2, so on and so on, all through the year, and that does actually build up quite quickly. So there are those sort of little things you can do to really help you along with your savings. But that's just the examples there. Garden, again, very self-explanatory, but if you have watched other videos on my channel, you'll know that Matt and I enjoy gardening, and last year we did a few garden vlogs, which we would like to carry on with next year. And certainly one of my goals for the garden for next year is to really build up the border around the outside of the house and get some really lovely plants in there. Things that don't take a lot of care because we don't have enough time to get out in the garden as often as we'd like, but also things that are still going to be quite colourful and nice looking throughout the entire year, so well into the sort of autumn and winter months. The next thing on here is health, and again I go back to my sort of perimenopausal journey and just ways of being as healthy as I can through the sort of transition. Hobbies and interests, so again self-explanatory, but for me this would involve photography. And one of my plans for next year is to improve my photographs, especially of wildlife. And one of my goals is to actually enter the Bird Photographer of the Year competition. So notice there I'm saying enter and not win the competition, because obviously the winner is out of your hands, that's somebody else's decision. But from my point of view, I just want to enter the competition. I have no question whatsoever that I would actually win it, as I'm very, very amateur, but I would just really love to have some nice photographs to be able to actually enter the competition. And the entries actually close in December. So for the 2026, that has just closed. So I will be entering for 2027 in December next year. So hopefully over the year, I'll be able to build up a really nice portfolio of photographs, and not only of birds, like I say, but other wildlife as well, which I really love. And hopefully you'll come along with me when I go off on those photography sessions. Home, again, self-explanatory. This can include any sort of decorating or updates you want to make. It might also include sort of tidying and finding better storage and things like that. That's certainly one of my goals for next year. Because we only live in quite a small home, we have to be very careful with the amount of stuff that we have. We've got far too many books. Things that we started off collecting and we no longer collect, and it's all things like that that we need to look at, but also find better storage solutions for things as well. The wardrobes are cram-packed, so we need to go through our clothes and donate some to charity, things that we haven't worn for months or even years. So that's something we'll be doing next year. But I also want to revamp the bedroom. I absolutely love this room, and we did this I think actually in lockdown we first decorated and bought this furniture, but we do need to repaint now, and the ceiling needs redoing, and we would like to put coving up. And I would just like to buy some new bedding and things like that. I've got some new pictures to hang on that wall. That picture is, I love it, but it's a little bit too bright for this room, so I've actually got 3 canvases that I want to hang. I want to, you can't actually see it on camera, but I want to remove my collection of just the right shoe, the little cupboard I've got up there, and put that into my craft room and put a picture up there. So it's all little things like that. And then the second sort of rather big job we'll be doing is redecorating the living room, and we're going to completely restyle that room. It's had the same furniture in it now for 20 years, which we really bought quite cheaply when we first moved in, and it wasn't really exactly what we wanted. So we really want to revamp that room. It's only a small room, so we want to really lighten it up. And again, I'll be doing that here on the channel. So the next thing on the list, nights out, and again self-explanatory, but this is anywhere you feel like you might want to go of an evening. So it might be a new restaurant you would like to try. On my list, I would love to see La Bohème or Phantom of the Opera. We love going to the Oxford Playhouse to see plays, so we would like to go and see another play in the year. I'd like to go bowling again. We haven't been for a few years, and I want to try to beat my score of 118, which I'm sure isn't very good, but it was good for me. So that's nights out. So that's just places you would like to go. You might want to arrange a night out with friends, or that might be a night at home with friends, but I would still put that into that sort of nights out category. Next one is travel, and Matt and I haven't been abroad for quite a few years, and that's certainly something we would like to do next year. So this year our plan was to both renew our passports, which had both gone out of date. So we did that in January. That was one thing we ticked off the list fairly early on, and we would love to go abroad this year, and that will probably just be a city break somewhere in Europe. So yes, I'll keep you updated on that as well, and it would be nice to take you along if we, you know, do manage to get somewhere next year. Now the final thing on the list there is work. Now my work, those of you that know me will know I'm a miniaturist. I have a YouTube channel and a Patreon channel where I share tutorials for doll's house, furniture and miniatures. and I've actually done my plan for next year. It's all in this folder. And one thing I love about planning for work is that it's all very routined and it's very easily accountable. So I've got a section here for each of the videos I share on Patreon each month, a section for YouTube and a section for book 6, which is another of my work ambitions for next year, to publish my 6th book. So all of that is in here. So all of the steps that I need to do to get ahead, publish the book, and to start planning for weekly YouTube tutorials or videos is in here. And I'm not going to go into that in full detail here, because I actually share all of that with my patrons over on my Patreon channel, and I do sort of little daily updates where I update them on what I've managed to get done. So that will all be over there, but just to say, I love that because it's all, like I say, very accountable. And I'm going to come on to that in a moment. So once you've been through your list and you've decided upon your goal for the following year, the most important thing you can do is actually write it down. And there is actually evidence that writing a goal down, by writing a goal down, you are more likely to be successful in achieving it. Now, you might want to do that on a post-it note and have it somewhere that you can see it. You might want to do it on your mobile phone, in your note section, or if you're old-fashioned like me, you would probably like to do it in a notebook. And I love writing things down, and I have lots of different notebooks for all of the different plans and goals that I have for the year. So I'm sure you've all heard of this, but when you're actually writing down your goal, it's very important to be specific about the goal. So I'll give you a really simple example. So if you have, say, a YouTube channel and you want to increase the subscribers, rather than saying increase subscribers on YouTube, actually put down a figure. Because just by putting increase the subscribers, you might get 1 new subscribers and that is the goal achieved. But I'm sure in your mind that wasn't the actual plan. You weren't planning on just getting 1 more subscriber during the year. So what I would suggest is have a look at, if you've had the YouTube channel for a while, have a look at what you did last year. So for example, if you increased your subscribers by 100, perhaps you might want to, if you're feeling adventurous, you might want to double that and say you want to get 200 subscribers. You might just want to add on 10%, so say you want to get another 110, but actually decide upon a figure. When you've then decided upon the figure, so let's say it's 110, but you're going to round it up to 120, so that breaks down easily to 10 a month. Rather than just writing down that you want to get 10 new subscribers a month, actually come up with a plan on how you're going to do that. So it might mean that you need to post more regularly. You might need to advertise your channel on your other social media platforms. If you're a business and say, for example, your YouTube channel is part of that and you might have an online shop or an Etsy shop or something, perhaps when you send out an order you could put a little flyer in for your YouTube channel and things like that. So don't make a goal and then just have the goal there and expect it to happen. Actually plan how you are going to make it happen. And then when I've decided upon the goal and I've written it down in a specific way, I then plan for 10 days at a time in my daily diary. So this is an A5 day per page, and the weekend is on 1 page, so Saturday and Sunday on 1 page. So I will come to this and I'll probably do this tomorrow now, start filling out for the first 10 days. So rather than doing it weekly, because I don't always get a chance each week to sit down and plan for the following 7 days, I break each month down into 10-day sections. So each month then goes into 3 sections. So for January, I'll plan my goal for the 1st to the 10th of January, then it will go from the 11th to the 21st or whatever it is. So I'll have 11 days, 10 days and 10 days. And I just plan what I'm going to do a little bit towards each goal during those 10 days. Another of my goals that falls into my hobbies and interests category, and that I will be charting here on the channel, is that I want to learn again how to play Für Elise on piano. Now, I actually learned to play it about 12 years ago because I've always loved the piano. So I taught myself how to play it, and I could just about stumble my way through it. I only had a small piano then, so it wasn't a full 88 key keyboard, which I now have. Matt actually got me as an early birthday present. And then I didn't play for quite a few years. So I'm now back into it and I'm relearning that piece. Still can't get all the way through yet, so that's my plan. Get all the way through at my sort of ploddy speed and then speed up. But at the moment, I'm just trying to relearn it all the way through. And like I say, I'll follow that, or I'll share that here as a little journey on this channel. Now, the other thing as well, I really love planning. I love making lists and doing that sort of 10-day little plan for each day of what I need to do to stick to them. But you need to do what works for you. Some people don't like doing all that planning or writing everything down, but you do need to come up with a way that works for you. Now, I know online there are certain people that I really love to follow, and they do things like workbooks, and in the workbook you'll write down the goal, but you also need to write down why you want to achieve the goal and how you'll feel when it's achieved and how you'll feel if you don't achieve it. And that may work for some people, but it doesn't work for me. I don't like things where I have to spend too much time on the actual planning rather than actually just getting on with it. So I like to know what I'm doing and when I need to do it, but for most of the time I want to be doing it and working towards the goal. So that's something to think about as well. But like I say, it's what works for you, and we're all different.
Okay, so just to recap then, here is a list of my goals for 2026. Now, this doesn't include all of them. As I said earlier, I'm not going to list my work goals here or my business goals, but these are some of the goals that I will be tracking here on the channel. So eat healthier, work out 5 days a week, walk 5 days a week, learn to play Fur-Elise on piano, write 12 chapters of my novel, improve the condition of my hair, try indoor skydiving, enter the Bird Photographer of the Year competition, decorate the bedroom, decorate the living room, fill the garden borders, go abroad and visit the Bodleian Library.
Okay, so I'm going to leave it there because I feel like I've been speaking for quite a long time, but I really hope that you've got some ideas out of that. You don't have to follow along with the way that I do it, but that's how I do it. That's how I find that it works for me, and I've achieved quite a few of the goals that I set myself for 2025 by using this method. Share in the comments below your method, how you plan and how you follow through with your goals, if it's different to how I do it. Any other tips and advice that you have for me or other people who are watching, that would be lovely to hear as well. Now, the goals that I've spoke about there, I am going to be tracking here on the channel, and I hope that you will help to sort of keep me motivated and keep me going. And I would love to hear what your goals are as well. And hopefully whenever I sort of pop in with an update, I can ask you how you're getting on as well, and hopefully motivate you as well. So let's like set up a really nice little community here where we can help each other along. Okay, I'm going to leave it there now. I just want to end then by saying thank you so much for being here. Thank you if you've subscribed, for all of your comments and likes over the year. Now, if you haven't subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button. One of my goals for next year is to get the channel up to 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm on about 702 at the moment. So if you could hit that subscribe button, that would really help me out. And yes, I just want to end then by wishing you a very happy, healthy and prosperous 2026, and I'll see you next year. Bye.